Greetings, vinyl community. This is my first video in a little while, and the first order of business is to show that I've just received a very gracious Christmas present from the Carlsons. So I'm going to save the actual opening until Christmas morning, but I just want to acknowledge this and say thank you so much, Steve and Patty, and the happiest of holidays to you and your family. I'm going to talk about some double LPs that have arrived recently, starting with this one. I've been shopping around for this album for quite a while. This was my first exposure to the music of John Coltrane back in the 70s. And this is the compilation of his Impulse period, His Greatest Years Volume 2, Best of John Coltrane. This is a record that my father bought. And I'm not sure why he bought it. He may have heard one of the more accessible pieces on the radio, like the big band arrangement of Greensleeves that is on here. But this also includes some of John Coltrane's very free period tracks from, an excerpted version of The Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost from Meditations, and the opening section of Ascension. So that was something that he was really not into, but I dug it, and that really set me on a path. As I say, I've been shopping for this album quite a while, looking for just the right copy. Looking for just one that was really clean. It's hard to find one that doesn't have a lot of ring wear on it. This was a sealed copy. The story, though, is that I had previously purchased a sealed copy a couple of years ago from an eBay seller. It was a reasonable price, still sealed copy, which meant I was taking a chance on it being the right pressing. I wanted the original label, but it was good. And after doing it was a buy it now, so I paid for it, and I heard back from the seller, the free shipping on that was a mistake. You have to send me another $5 and I'll send you the record. I said, you can't do that. I paid for the record with the advertised price, so please send it. And he got irate. He started sending really personal and insulting messages through eBay. So needless to say, I didn't get that record. And I reported him to eBay, which is completely useless, but it might as well. And just decided to wait until I'd find just the right copy from another seller. I found this one beautiful. First pressing with the red ring Impulse label. And that other guy still has his copy for sale on eBay to this day. Another double LP I purchased recently through eBay, 1971 release by Philip Glass, music with changing parts on his own Chatham Square label. And this is very similar to the music that I showed in one of my other recent-ish videos, music in 12 parts, which had the very typical sound of Philip Glass, the strongly repetitious and entrancing sound, with the emphasis on the high pitch range, and the wordless vocals that it's very easy to project your own words upon and start imagining that you hear various words. And that's very trippy to sort of interact with the music in that way. Inside, some photos of the musicians inside. They include John Gibson, who's strongly associated with Glass's music, as well as Barbara Benary, Steve Chambers, Dickie Landry, Arthur Murphy, and Robert Prado. And that's the only Chatham Square release I've ever owned. Next up, going back to the Impulse label, Psychic Emotus. by Yusuf Lateef from 1965. Love Yusuf Lateef's work, particularly when he brings in his influence of Eastern music and classical music. And this really shows the gamut by side two, running from an adaptation of the first of Eric Satie's Trois Gymnopédies, and it ends with Fats Waller's Ain't Misbehavin'. So this, again, was an eBay purchase and was rated VG, I think. Very good, but the disc is not in great shape. It plays, but definitely has been abused. The cover is beautiful. A few, like, mildew stains or something inside, but the outside is wonderful. Very strange to see such a poor quality record in a nice sleeve. It's, if anything, usually the other way around. So you're saying, Michael, you're shaking your fists at the screen. That's not a double LP. You made a mistake. Well, what was odd about this when I received it from the eBay seller was that there was a second LP shoved in the sleeve. And it was Yusuf Lateef's Live at Pep's, also from 1965. Also a pretty beat copy, but again, it plays. So I've got a no-cover copy of Live at Pep's. The Recommended Records Sampler. This is from the label Recommended Records, run by Chris Cutler, best known for his work with Henry Cow and the Art Bears. And this is a lot of music that at the time was not released by artists like Henry Cow, Art Bears, Art Zoid, Universal, Robert Wyatt is on here, and just a whole host of avant-garde rock and chamber rock artists, some sort of post-punk sounds, even though this is, still during the kind of punk era. Faust is on here, R. Stevie Moore, Decibel. Classic label, bizarre package with the title written in glitter. So this is like a plastic sleeve with the, if I can get it out of here, with the title in glitter. The cover itself is just a fold, and there's an insert with the credits that continue from what's on the inside of the cover itself. Next set is not actually a double, but a quintuple set of the music of the Romanian-born, actually born in what was then Transylvania, Hungarian-Austrian composer George Ligeti. And this is on the Vergo label, featuring Ligeti's artwork on the cover, and it's a must-have for that alone. Great selection of his works, starting off with the first LP devoted to two string quartets, which are really great. I was not familiar with those previously. This contains the works that he's most noted for by the public, the Lux Aeterna and Atmospheres, which were the pieces used in 2001: A Space Odyssey on the soundtrack. So it goes from the chamber music of those string quartets through choral pieces, orchestral pieces, and different combinations of instrumental and vocal works. Really great stuff. One of my favorite 20th century composers, so was very stoked to get that. Open it up and see that there's a cool booklet with some musical examples showing the density of some of Ligeti's music. It's really easy to pick up off of the page. And there's another example, as well as some graphic scores for, this is a piece for organ. So obviously the organist is free to do some interpretation there. And there is the Vergo label. finally, one morning a few weeks ago, a month ago, I heard Phil Proctor from the Firesign Theater on an old recording reciting a poem, and I was going on to Google to find out what it was that he was reciting. It turned out it was not a poem at all. It was just some rather florid writing from Time magazine. And it was talking about the Broadway musical Flower Drum Song. I think this was 1958. And this was the cover story from the Time magazine. So the stars of the show, Pat Suzuki and Miyoshi Umeki, were on the cover of Time magazine. Well, that led me to look up Pat Suzuki, who it turns out is still alive. She's 90 years old, and that was that. So that day, I visited the local record shop, and I found This Is Broadway's Best. This was a record that my mother probably played more than any other when I was a child. It was from around 1960, 61 maybe. I think it's 1960. And it features the Al Hirschfeld caricatures of the different performers, including Pat Suzuki from Flower Drum Song. So it was a great nostalgia trip to find this record. Cost me all of $3. Cover's in beautiful shape. The records look like they haven't even been played. This is a 60-year-old record. It was covered with a film of gritty dust or dirt. It may have been like some powdery mold, but I cleaned that up. It was really not very noticeable. I was kind of surprised on cleaning it up how much came off on the tissue. But beautiful shape, except there's a bit of a warp on disc 1. It still plays fine. Love the caricature work. Very deluxe production. You can see that it's nice and glossy and laminated, and it has this bound-in book with behind-the-scenes pictures and information on all the different musicals of the time. My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, West Side Story, South Pacific, all that stuff is what I grew up hearing around the house. So that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you're all being well, staying in, finding ways to connect with friends one way or another, because it's a hard time for a lot of folks. So best wishes to everyone. Be well. Talk with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.